So going back to the root cause of the problem, something that in all of our medical treatment models we oftentimes fail to look at. We're chasing symptoms all over the place rather than going to the root and the heart of the matter, which is, I think, now why psychedelic medicine is showing to be so effective in so many different channels, because it tends to go to the root of the issue. Whatever mechanism you want to attribute to it, it finds a way to guide your attention and consciousness to the root of the problem, and certainly has helped me unpack many, many problems. But yeah, I mean, I see exactly what you're saying, and I also remember a quote that you said that, you know, not all traumatized people have addictions, but all addicts have been traumatized.
That's right.
You know, it's the common ground between all addictions is a source of trauma, and I never really looked at it that way, but it's that conditional self-love model where if I performed well in a basketball game or in a test or something like that, then I received love from my world at the time, which was my parents.
Yeah.
The thing that mattered most. In those times where I didn't perform and I missed something, I failed to do something, I played a bad game because I wasn't paying attention or whatever it was, the love was withdrawn. And in some ways, while people have a large amount more trauma than me, and it's not a poor me story, there was a certain amount of trauma that got patterned from the, you know, love and then the removal of love.
Well, I would caution you against comparing traumas. Because we all have our own experience, and it just doesn't work to compare my trauma is less than yours or bigger than yours. You know, it's just not worth playing. Number one. Number two, there's something else going on here as well. There's something very familiar to you about being stressed. Familiar and comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, what's the root of the word familiar?
Family.
Yeah. Which is to say, you grew up in a very stressed family.
Yeah.
That was the environment. I don't know anything about you, but that was, you just told me, that was the environment that you grew up in. And to some extent, we all recreate the emotional resonances that we experience as children. So until you're willing to leave your family in that sense, you're going to keep recreating this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still seeking that love that you didn't get the way you needed it at that time from the environment. And I totally relate. Now you happen to be big and athletic. I'm not. So basketball wasn't going to way I was going to get love. But being smart and getting good grades and validating myself and then becoming a doctor so everybody would want me was my particular way. So we each find our attempted solution to the trauma of being disconnected from our own sense of value. Other people will find it in the soothing that drugs provide or in alcohol or whatever it is, but the underlying dynamic is always that childhood trauma. And that trauma is always based on either things happening that shouldn't have happened, such as abuse that happens to a lot of people, or things not happening that should have happened, which is just being valued and accepted for who you are.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And what was interesting for me